Good morning, Tom Ritter. How you doing?
Pretty well, Bob. Beautiful day here at Creekside Nursery in Mariposa. Thanks for coming down. I guess what you asked me to discuss today was deer-resistant plants. So I put together a few to show you.
Okay.
So the one thing about deer you got to understand is that depending on the time of the year, some things they'll eat, some things they won't. Depends on how hungry they are. And also depends on the density of the population of deer where you live and the density of the people. So like if you live in lush meadows or Ponderosa Basin, you're going to find that the deer will eat things that are listed that they generally don't eat because they're just become so domesticated that their habits are way different, and they don't go out and seek their forage as well. They pretty much eat what's there. So that's really important to know. Also, yeah, in the summertime or in the spring now, if something says it's deer resistant, they probably don't eat it. But when fall comes around, late summer, you'll find that they eat a lot of things they normally don't eat. So let's go ahead and begin, I suppose. So I'll show you a couple of no-brainers right away that you can pretty well 100% guarantee that they won't eat. One of them that is boxwood.
Yes.
Boxwood is an evergreen shrub. A lot of times you see this as a formal hedge, but it certainly doesn't need to be. Nice green color, maintains that all the time. So we're 1st of April right now, so it still has maintained a good green color even with all the cold rain or weather we've had. And you know, you can also do things like this. This is a cone shape. They make topiaries out of them. Fairly slow growing, very formal, very tidy. It's a really nice plant. And of course, there's good old rosemary. You see this all around Mariposa County because they don't eat it. It doesn't matter if it's springtime, summertime, whatever time. They're just not going to touch it. So it's a good choice.
Okay.
It comes in different shapes and sizes. Like for instance, this right here is called Chef Choice. It's a taller variety, more upright. Good to have around because you'll never have to buy your rosemary for seasoning. There's also, this right here is a prostrate version, makes a really good ground cover. Generally it blooms during the cooler times of the year. I've seen it bloom in fall. I've seen it bloom in like now at another time. The flower's not real showy, but it's a great, foundation type plant. Another one I have just right here is lavender. Lavender is very, very safe. I've never really heard anything about it being consumed by the deer, and it's really drought tolerant. What else? It's drought tolerant, loves the sun, don't want to put it in the shade. Just getting back to rosemary, it's more versatile as far as sun and shade, and it also doesn't take very much water right there. So we can kind of move on down. We have some other things marked. Butterfly bush. It doesn't look like much right now. Everything's just kind of popping out with the spring. Like everything's about a month behind schedule, maybe 3 weeks. So it doesn't look too showy right now. But this is a real good full sun plant that, generally speaking, they don't like. Maybe I'm a little more hesitant in fall about it, but still they're not going to really destroy this plant. And it's really good out in the sun. And it's actually attracts butterflies. When this thing is in bloom, we get all kinds of butterflies on it. It's really a good one to have. There's variations of sizes on that as well. Sometimes you can get it. They've come out recently with some 2-3 foot varieties, but these are some of the taller ones, and they do seem to be a little bit more vigorous than newer varieties. And coming on over here, I can show you a few other things. If you're looking for a shrub that would get about 3 to 4 feet tall, real versatile as far as soil, what it takes, and it loves the sun, loves the heat, doesn't require a lot of water. This is called Grevillea, and that's one that you could pretty well guarantee the deer aren't ever going to eat it. Generally, if something has a pointy type leaf.
Does it flower?
Yes, it has this little, these are a little smaller than they kind of typically do when they're larger, but it's an interesting little flower. Yeah, so there we got that. Over here we have what is called tucarum. The tucarum family, and it is basically deer resistant. It's probably a little bit pungent. That's probably why they don't like it. I mean, it's soft. So you would think they'd eat it, but they don't. So it must be something inside there, flavor-wise, that they don't like. I'm going to move over here. I gotta sneeze. Okay, and this one here I like this one a lot because it does take full sun. It's very durable. It doesn't take a lot of water as well. And this one will get 3 feet tall or so. It does really well. It's pretty cool. Another one that just happens to be right here, and there's 2 different varieties, and this one is called a Abelia. And this is like Abelia's been around for a long time. It prefers like maybe a little bit of a shadier place, not full sun, but it'll do okay in full sun. But their deer don't like this one as well. I'm not really sure why they don't like it. It looks like something they would eat, but they don't.
Okay. So sometimes these plants give off an aroma that repels.
Yeah. I think obviously the level of pungence, the smell, has something to do with it. Texture also has something to do with them not liking it, and part of texture is if the leaves are serrated. They definitely won't go for serrated plants, but it kind of depends. But definitely, if something's pretty pungent, they normally don't like it. That's why herbs are, generally they don't like herbs.
Well, what I'm thinking is planting them around plants that are attractive.
I don't think that works.
You don't think?
No. I've never really seen anything where that's going to really make it. It might deter them a little bit, but I don't think that's going to really be the answer. I don't think you could put sage all around a rose. I think their sense of smell and stuff is definitely good enough to where that's not going to deter them too much. Yeah. Another one, this is a California native. It doesn't look real great yet. It definitely, is winter looking right now, but it's called Carpinteria. This is has a nice white flower on it. California native, drought tolerant. It's about 6 to 8 feet tall, deer resistant, pretty well. They leave it alone. I love this plant. It does really well up here. Maybe occasionally they'll pick at it or whatever on a tender leaf. But manzanitas in general are also very good, and you can get these manzanitas where they just lay on the ground. They're ground covers. You can get medium height ones and also larger ones as well. Another nice little ground cover type
walking around the nursery is always fun.
Another one, if you're looking for a low border or something ground cover shrub, this is a cotoneaster. Not all cotoneasters are deer resistant or deer resistant. But this one is, and also one other thing, you see how tiny these leaves are? A lot of times if you get plants that have really tiny leaves, they're not so fond of them as well. And that's a real nice one. And right next to it here is what you call a barberry. Barberries do really well up here out in the sun. Once again, this has small leaves on it, and it also has thorns on it. And between the combination of the small thorns, the small leaves and the thorns, this one right here is a good one. It comes in different, shades of. Like some of them are red. Actually, this is one as well. This has a golden foliage to it. But those are really nice, hardy plants to have around.
I notice you've marked them with little blue flags, so when
I did that for my benefit today.
So it's not just generally a customer information thing?
No, I should be better at that, but I'm gonna leave them in. But I put those in there so I could easily kind of go around.
Well, there's quite a few deer resistant.
There's a lot. We really try to concentrate on deer resistant plants because some of the areas we serve certainly have real high density deer populations. So that is definitely something we look for when we purchase plants for sit out here and stuff. Getting back to like that rosemary that I was showing you first. Here's one. This is another upright variety. Really pretty right now, and I just love it because it smells so good. I just love that pungent smell. But that's a winner. Of course, the juniper family, or the conifers in general, or any of these,
yes,
are deer resistant. Pretty foolproof. They're not always everybody's favorites, but that looks pretty good, and the deer aren't going to really mess with that too much. That works out pretty well. Silversberry right here is a taller bush if you're looking for something
for more
screens. This one I didn't flag, but that's a pretty cool one too.
Well, you have this one figured out.
I know them all, Bob. I know them all. And then actually, it's not. They're like olives, bush form of ornamental olives. Deer don't like these as well. Not everybody likes them. They kind of grow slow, but that's also definitely an option. Yeah. And here we'll do this here, and then I kind of walk down here a little bit. Okay. So we also have oleanders. Oleanders aren't for everybody. They don't eat them because they're poisonous. But some places around here they do really well. It's not like my favorite one here because it does experience a fair amount of winter damage from the cold. But I've seen some real beauties, that are in the right spot. They do really well, and sometimes they even are higher up in the elevation where I'm really surprised to see them growing so well. This is another one I really like. This is a holly leaf cherry. It's in the cherry family, and it actually does have an edible cherry. The birds really like it. They love it actually. This has a fine serrated leaf on it, so they don't mess with it. This is also cool because it's a California native. We actually have one right up here on the bank, right there. We cut that one back a little bit because it got so big. But if you need a screen, it's really, really good. And it grows relatively quick. So, nice. It's a nice plant. If you're looking for smaller stuff, you know, more perennial-like, this is called Santalina. Very, very pungent. But this is like a, you know, they don't mess with this one. It's very secure. Very, very secure. And then we have rock roses. Rock roses, there's a lot of different shapes and sizes and colors that go from pinks to reds, mainly to purple is the one you probably see most. This is called, that's the purple rock rose. Deer generally don't touch it. Maybe in the fall you'll get some grazing on it, but they're not gonna ruin it. They're not gonna chew it all down and disfigure it or anything like that. So and it's very drought tolerant and loves the heat. It's very good. Ceanothus is another family of a lot of them are California natives. This is called Dark Star. A lot of Ceanothus I find that deer will graze on. This particular variety though, they don't. It's pretty good. They don't like it, once again, because it has really small leaves. So this one generally does extremely well. Then almost all salvia and sages are you know, deer resistant, and they come in a lot of shapes and sizes. This is like white sage. Some of these are still in their winter look, so, and we have, you know, they don't look exceptionally well right now, but they'll pop right out of it. But the deer don't mess with them. A lot of these are in flower in the blue kind of colors. That's a really nice one you don't see too much, California native. This is hummingbird sage, really nice. We have some Cleveland sages, which are right here. Like I say, we got white sage right now. Another one that makes a shrub is this one called Phalomis. I think it's called Jerusalem sage is its common name. It has a nice yellow flower on it. Very, very cool plant. Easy to take care of, drought tolerant. And of course, most of the grasses are drought, or excuse me, deer resistant. You know, deer are browsers, not grazers, so they don't really like grass. I mean, sometimes you'll see them munching on grass, I think, just because they're hungry, but in general, it is not their preference. So most of the grasses that I'm aware of, and there's tons of them, are all going to work for you. Another California native is the Artemisia. This one is called Big Sagebrush. Actually, this one grows fine up here, and it's drought tolerant. Once again, I think it's one of those that has that pungent smell that they're not very fond of. We got that there. Once again, we have some more manzanitas. These are the ground cover varieties of manzanitas versus the taller, shrubbier varieties. Another really nice one is Toyon, California native. It has a serrated leaf. It's not, you know, it's fairly soft. It's not that bad. All this nice color. So you get some color from the red, and also You can get berries on it too if it gets pollinated.
And what do they call this again?
Nandina.
Nandina.
Nandina. Also, people call it heavenly bamboo. But I don't like to call it that because then people think it's a bamboo, and it's not.
Okay.
There we go. And I got another one right here. I didn't even think about it. And this right here is Pacific Wax Myrtle. This is a California native. Makes a really nice block. Cover up the propane tank or that kind of a thing. And once again, it is a drought. It's drought tolerant, and it does very well up here. And of course, they don't. If you need something in the shade, you know, the ferns do really well. They don't mess with them.
And what are these sprouting?
Peonies. Peonies. They're a real showy flower. This is the product that we sell or recommend for using to keep the deer off your ornamentals. Been selling this for quite a few years, and it seems to be very successful. Every once in a while somebody says it doesn't work, but I think that's because they don't spray it on the leaves. They spray it on the ground around there. I've found that out a few times. They don't read the directions. But if you put it right on the foliage, I've never personally had a problem. And that's a real good one right there. They make a couple other ones.
It's called deer and rabbit?
Deer and rabbit repellent, yeah.
Cool.
That one works out pretty well.